I used to think that if there was one thing that would never change in my life, it would be our friendship. We met in our early college years, the time when everything was naive, undefined, and people were most open. The group quickly became close through late night study sessions, sharing instant noodles in the dorm, and seemingly endless gossip every night. I remember the first time I got seriously ill. The whole group rushed to my room with medicine, porridge, and jokes that made me both tired and tearful with laughter. From that moment on, I believed, this is my second family. We formed a group chat. The messages never stopped, from early morning to late at night. There were days when we were in a meeting. We would sneakily scroll through to see who had just sent a silly meme. Every birthday, everyone receives a homemade clip, a collection of wishes from all the members, sometimes even a song with that person's name. When one person is sad, the rest of us turn into a rescue team, immediately coming to their side, bringing both comfort and necessary silence. I never doubted that friendship. I used to believe that if we got married in the future, the bridesmaids would definitely be these people. If there was a trip in our lives, we would definitely go together. There was a strange feeling, as if I had a permanent place in their hearts and they did the same in mine. There were nights when I lay in bed, scrolling through old photos, rereading old messages, lines filled with laughter, loving reproaches, times of anger and reconciliation, and I felt lucky. In a world where everyone was busy and changing, our friendship was like a solid anchor, holding me back. I proudly told others about them, as if I was chosen to be part of a special club, where no one was left behind. I truly believed it, but it turns out some things that looked bright up close were just spotlights from a stage where I was never invited to stand in the middle. I didn't mean to read anyone's messages, but sometimes the truth comes in the most unexpected and cruel ways. That night, we had a small movie night at my house, as we always did. Evenings like that always warmed my heart, as a testament to how strong our friendship had become after all these years. When everyone had left, I discovered that one of my friends had left his phone on the sofa. When I picked it up to text him, a notification popped up on the screen. It wasn't a private message, nor a reminder of my schedule. It was a group chat. The name of the group was unremarkable, but the list of members made my heart stop. All of my close friends were in it, except me. I stood there for a few seconds, trying to convince myself that maybe this was a side group, a group chat about something I didn't care about. But the way my heart pounded in my chest told me it wasn't. Driven by a mixture of curiosity and fear, I opened the group chat. And then I knew that they regularly gathered without me, that I was mentioned in the messages as a backup plan. If that person doesn't show up, bring her. That they laughed, discussed travel plans, meals, games, all the things I thought we shared together. But I wasn't a part of it. And worse, that this wasn't a coincidence. They called me backup friend, openly, freely, without any guilt. I sat there, in the middle of my own living room, holding the phone of the person I once called my best friend, and felt my world spin. There had been no previous argument, no apparent disagreement. I had no idea that I was being excluded bit by bit, one by one, so gently and silently. They never said it outright, but their actions spoke louder than any words. I returned the phone the next morning, smiling as if nothing had happened. They smiled back, as usual, but something inside me had died. I stopped responding to the group messages. No reproaches, no demands for explanations. I wondered if I was silent, who would notice? And that silence, the clearest statement I'd ever heard from them. No one asked why I stopped texting. No one called, asking if I was okay. No one. And I understood. I was never really in the group. They just never said it. Until the phone spoke for them. The truth may not have been spoken, but it was always there. In the things they didn't do, the words they didn't say, and the places I wasn't invited to. I don't know what hurts more, that they deliberately excluded me, or that they did it so easily. I read every message in that group chat, every emoticon, every date I didn't know about. Not just once, but many times. They had lunch last Saturday, the same day I sent a message in the group, asking, "Who's free for coffee?" No one responded. It turned out they were at another restaurant together, laughing, taking pictures, sending stickers to the other group. Not a single mention of me. Not a single feeling of guilt. The friends I once trusted, loved with all my heart, now became the ones who made me feel like a shadow. They planned to hang out, play games on Friday nights, celebrate each other's birthdays, even take a 2-day trip out of town. I wasn't just not invited. I didn't know. I kept thinking about how they called me a backup friend. A word that sounds light, but weighs heavy on the heart. As if I was only invited when there was a shortage of people, when there was a need to make up the seats, or when someone couldn't come. I used to think of myself as an important part of the group, one of the indispensable pieces. But the truth is, I was just a piece that was okay to have, and okay to not have. And what hurt me the most was that they did it so naturally. There was no guilt, no hesitation. In their eyes, leaving me on the sidelines wasn't cruel. It was natural. There was a text message that I remember forever. When one person asked, "Should I ask her out?" the other replied, "Yeah, she's cute, but you know her? Don't say anything, it's not the right vibe." Not the right vibe. A simple sentence that cut like a knife. I thought our vibe was laughter in class, staying up all night to study for exams, sharing stories when one of us was heartbroken. But it turns out I was wrong. Their true vibe was without me. I started looking back at all the memories of the past and realized the signs that I had missed before. The times they accidentally didn't invite me, the dates that were told after they happened, the photos without me that I thought were because I was busy. Now I understand. I wasn't busy. I wasn't chosen. I wonder if there hadn't been that night, if there hadn't been that phone left behind, when would I have realized that I was just standing outside the frame? When would I have stopped lying to myself that friendship is eternal? Perhaps sometimes the most painful thing is not being left behind, but realizing that I never really got to enter. I returned the phone, smiling as if I had never known anything. And they smiled back, as if they had never hidden anything. But from that moment on, I disappeared, and no one noticed. I didn't blame them right away. I didn't ask, "Why is there another group without me?" Nor did I scream or demand an explanation. I just quietly walked out of the story I thought I was a part of. It wasn't a loud farewell, no anger, no tears. It was just, I stopped showing up. I stopped replying to group messages. The daily greetings I used to send became silence. No more smiley emojis. No more, is anyone free to go out for bubble tea? Or, is anyone free tonight? I waited to see who would be the first to notice the silence. But days passed, then weeks, and no one asked. No one sent me a private message. No one knocked on my heart with a simple, "Are you okay?" I began to realize something bitter. When you're silent and no one cares, you've probably never really been heard. They continued to post pictures, hang out, and chat in the group chat, where I wasn't. And the group with me, just polite messages asking how I was, sometimes a casual birthday wish or a few plans that never happened. It was like a layer of paint on a rotten wall, intact on the outside, but hollow on the inside. My silence wasn't a cold war. It was a peaceful retreat. A gentle farewell to something that no longer belonged to me. And what hurt me the most was that they didn't need me to feel complete. I disappeared, and no one felt empty. I used to think that if one day I left, they would feel that void. That someone would say, "Why haven't I seen him lately?" That someone would text, "I miss you." But no. My absence was so quiet that even my shadow left no trace. There is a very special sadness when you realize the people you love don't hate you, nor are they angry with you. They just don't think about you. And so they don't even realize when you've left. Indifference doesn't need many words. It's a glance that doesn't stop, a void in their hearts that never made room for you. And so I let go, not because I hate them, but because I've started to learn to love myself. I no longer want to hold on to hands that don't hold back. I don't want to knock on the door of a room that I've never truly been invited into. If you're reading this and it feels familiar, that you've disappeared from a group of people without anyone noticing, know that you're not alone. Some relationships slip away like sand through your fingers. And sometimes the bravest thing we can do is walk away and never look back. I don't want pity. I just want to be heard, seen, understood. Perhaps the only reason I'm writing all this is not to tell a story or to ask for sympathy. I don't need anyone to comfort me or say, "I feel so sorry for you." Because I don't need pity. I just need to know that my pain isn't in vain. I want someone, even just one person, to understand how painful it is to be excluded from a group of people you once thought was family, real, familiar. It's not like a visible wound, but like a cold that seeps into your bones. You're still alive, you're still breathing, you're still smiling when you need to. But inside, something is broken. I want those who were my backup friends to know that they're not alone in this. That feeling of being forgotten, of being considered the last option, is real and painful, but it doesn't define your worth. You are not inferior to anyone because you were left behind. You are not worthless because others don't appreciate you. There are too many people in this world who carry loneliness in their hearts without knowing how to name it. They still go to work, still laugh with their colleagues, still interact on social media. But when night falls, they feel so empty that they don't even know why. I used to be like that, wondering what I did wrong. Did I say something that upset them? Was I not interesting enough? Was I too real or too different? But then I realized the reason is not always me. Sometimes people exclude me just because they can. Not everyone is sensitive enough to see when someone is gradually quieting down. Not everyone cares enough to ask a simple question. Are you okay? And sometimes we wait for that question until we stop waiting. I'm not writing this to complain. I'm writing it because I know that somewhere, someone needs to hear. It's not wrong to love someone with all your heart. It's not weak to feel hurt when you're left behind and you're not alone. Maybe you're like me, had once believing you had a place in someone's heart, only to find out it was just a temporary corner. But no matter what, you're still valuable. You still deserve to have people who truly appreciate you, listen to you, and choose you every day. Not because they're not there, but because they truly want you there. And if today you feel like you're the last choice, remember, somewhere, someone needs a true friend like you. Don't let a few closed doors make you forget. You're still enough, good enough, enough for someone to see and keep. I don't need anyone's pity. I just want to share, so that if you're hurting, you don't feel lost in that sadness. We still have each other. Those who were left behind, but never truly lost themselves. I thought I was indispensable. Turns out I was just a nice to have or okay not to have option. And that taught me a profound lesson. Not everyone you treat with all your heart will respond the same way. After everything fell apart, I sat for a long time, thinking about all the moments that made me smile. The times I happily accepted invitations to get-togethers, the times I listened to my friends lamenting about their love lives until 2 a.m. The little gifts I meticulously prepared because I knew what they liked. In my heart, it was friendship. But in their eyes, it was just a convenient part. A spare place to fill the void when someone was missing. I used to be sad. The feeling of being left out was like standing in the middle of a crowded room, waving your hand loudly, but no one saw. You didn't disappear, it was just no one really cared about your presence. But then, through each quiet day, I realized sometimes life doesn't give us the friends we expect, but gives us the experiences we need to learn to love ourselves more. If it weren't for this shock, I would still think that being sincere is enough to be kept. But it turns out sincerity is not always appreciated if you give it to people who don't know how to receive it. And most importantly, you don't have to try to belong to a place that makes you feel redundant. I learned to stop holding on, learn to withdraw gracefully, learn to spend that time finding people who really want you to be there. Not because it's convenient, but because they truly love you. They don't have to be many. They just need to be the right people. Life is sometimes cruel in that it doesn't warn us in advance about who will hurt us. But that's also why it teaches us to be stronger, wiser, and to know how to set limits for things that are no longer healthy. The biggest lesson I learned is that your worth is not determined by how others treat you, but by how you see yourself. When you know what you deserve, you will no longer settle for half-hearted relationships. I don't blame anyone. I'm not as sad as I used to be. I'm just grateful for the experience, because it taught me to walk away from parties that weren't meant for me, and to continue my journey to find a place that truly calls me with appreciation.